I am going to call the meeting to order because we're 1 minute late. So really, we only have two things on the agenda tonight. The first thing has to do with the police department, new communications. Let me just give you a quick update. Last week, the week before, we had a 9/11 meeting, 911 meeting, and ultimately, we want to move forward with this new system, new communication system and tracking system, record keeping. There are three components to it, and Dave, you can tell me if I've, I think I took pretty good notes. There's the part for dispatch, okay? And the 911 commission approved that expense. There is a annual expense and there's a one-time setup. So the dispatch, just so you know, the one-time setup was, it's somewhere in between $36,814 and $42,949. So, apparently there's some variables there depending on that during that setup. The annual contract for the dispatch is $32,760. That will all be paid with $911, okay? Then the sheriff's office, they have their portion in this, with this software. And then the city, our police department also has a portion for us to be on this system. That annual contract is $11,280. The setup, and by the way, these are 3-year contracts. The setup is somewhere between $30,000 and change and $36,814. So I think what you have on here kind of reflects that whole amount there. And so that's the gist of what I know. I mean, I really got the sense that the law enforcement and dispatch have been through several meetings looking at different systems. They really felt this system is the best suited to take us forward into the future. And it's with Oracle. It's all cloud-based. So Dave, what else do you want to say? Did I hit most of the highlights?
Yeah, I think you got it all.
Yeah, why don't you come up here, just so you're on the mic.
We're live. Super. I didn't do my hair. It was the good news, a lot of meetings, and civil department, jail staff are all going to use the system, so we only have to pay 33% of all of the cost because of the 2080 agreement we have. And it's something we've been discussing for probably a year now with a lot of meetings, a lot of arguing. There was a couple times I thought a couple lieutenants and sergeants were going to have a fight or two, but we looked at a lot of different systems and they've narrowed it down to this for the best bang for the buck.
It includes all the laptops, all the equipment that's in your cars.
Yes, ma'am.
And so they'll keep those replaced as needed, which now we're paying for.
And it's replacing the system that's going away, the all-point system, because it was a retired Bloomfield PD captain. He wanted to keep it very cheap, so we've paid for the last, what they say, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, like 15 to 17 years we've been paying very minimal prices, and he's in his 60s now, and he gave us a 3-year warning that he's not going to be able to do this much longer. And there's a lot of companies that talked to him and they just said, we can't believe you're charging that little money. We just can't make any money. So there wasn't any big, huge companies that wanted to buy him out. So Oracle is a nationally known that we're very comfortable with. We've talked everybody to our federal partners, to several agencies that use them. We're going to be one of the first in Iowa. But I think the lieutenant and the sergeants and the dispatch, 2 supervisors, they sat through most of the meetings because it's a system they're going to be working with. And it was a lot more, I was impressed. They kept it cost, and we turned down a lot of systems that were just because LAPD uses it, we don't have to have it here kind of thing. So that was one selling point. That was a quick meeting, but this was the best for the bang.
Yeah.
But if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, so ultimately this will be on this next year's budget. Yes. And so that's where you'll get your approval process, but I think, Will wanted to give you a heads up and be able to have you ask questions if you had any.
Are there any like specific benefits that you guys are like looking forward to or features that are going to be really helpful?
We're really excited because our computer system will only track law enforcement in the state of Iowa. It's pretty good. It's still a fee. We still have to pay the state of Iowa. We tried to get our ambulance service, and they said, no, it can't be a private service. We tried to get our fire trucks. So dispatch can track through the computers is how they track all of us. They said, no, we can't put that many fire departments in the state of Iowa. So this system said, absolutely, if you buy a cheap laptop and put it in the ambulance, we're excited because if dispatch is busy, we can get on the system and go en route, go on scene. They can give updates to the ambulance. They're conscious, they're coding. Ambulance is very excited too. And Oracle, like I said, it's a dispatch-based, it started dispatch-based, so they're very user-friendly. Dispatch was quick to catch on. Us dumb cops, it took a lot longer trying to figure out their systems.
So Dave, but this doesn't include fire and ambulance. That's a note that I have right now, correct?
Right now, yeah.
So those
it
will
would
be
something that,
additional
yeah,
at
yeah.
some point.
And it's something that we want to make sure. We already have computers in our cars. The ambulance, fire trucks don't, and that's an expense for them, of course. Something we had to pay for several years ago, but we've talked to them and they said absolutely we'd put systems in there. It's just buying the equipment, electronic equipment for it.
Yeah.
Are they planning then on budgeting that in these future years?
That and
these
radio
next 3
right now,
years?
definitely. It's we call it interoperability in the state of Iowa. We have trouble with communications, and we're getting very good at. Our cell phones don't work, so we have to have radio towers and put everybody on that system. So we're improving, but one of the updates for portables, because they don't work all the time, is being able to dispatch through a computer in squad cars and ambulances. We're there. We're doing most of our work. It cuts down a lot. We're very busy, so officers can now run plates in the cars. We're all certified dispatchers now with the state of Iowa. So we own all the rules and regulations. But when we need to have that radio, it's not tied up with me running a plate. It's the future and it's safer. So we see it moving forward with, especially in Iowa, where you're in the middle of nowhere and you still have to have communications for emergencies.
Yeah.
Dave, the cost sharing is strictly police department and sheriff right now?
Yeah, they are, like I said, they took up 66% of it. They offered it from the start because it was kind of their jails going to so we've had a lot of meetings with their jail staff, our dispatch, our officers, the deputies, all had to be in agreement. And that's why, yeah, they said it's kind of a no-brainer, but they would pay 66% if we were willing to pay the 33%.
Good.
And the dispatch portion is being paid by 911 funds.
911, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah,
That was great news to hear. That helps our budgets quite a bit.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So if there's no other questions, seeing none, we'll go on to the next one. Public restrooms. Been talking about public restrooms for 5 years. Going, we need to fix these, we need to fix these. Because, it's our building, and if we want other people to, we're expecting their buildings to be kept up, we should keep up our own. However, let's just say that in my discussions with Doug, we've batted around several ideas. So we could tear that building down. Really, that building has not been opened hardly at all in the last several years. So the question is, do we really need it? Do we really need to renovate it?
You mean the one on Burlington, right across the street from
Yeah,
there?
right across.
Okay.
Maybe we tear it down and it's more parking for downtown residents. Maybe we sell a building. Somebody makes a little office building. Maybe they renovate it. And again, we could renovate it and have our public restrooms. But when we've had events, you know, we do have the Civic Center that's generally open for like art walk, and many times it's open. During the week, we've got restrooms here that the public could use. You know, if we had a big event, maybe we have a park and rec person be a monitor here if we needed that restroom. For really, really big events, you know, like Ragbri, thank you. You know, we've had porta potties. So I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there of, you know, we try to think outside the box.
Has there been anything back, or I don't know if the question's been asked of like the retail merchants or the chamber?
Well, that, you know, I think that's a question that we need to ask, and I didn't have time yet today to call Mindy and ask her to get feedback from a few people. But
I can think of maybe 4 places, just picturing in my head right now, that have little plaques that say our restrooms are not public restrooms.
okay.
2 restaurants on my street, and I'm assuming there's places all around the square that are sort of that way.
Yeah.
They don't want to have drop-in business that's just that
Sure.
business.
But without this building not being open, they're going somewhere. Where, I don't know. So,
It might be during the day going to the courthouse too.
possibly, or
That-
stopping in at
that
Civic
may be-
Center, or a gas station, the grocery store. I don't know. I don't have the perfect answer. I just realized that myself was going, hey, this is rarely open. We rarely opened it, and it's an embarrassment when we do, in my view. And so the thought was, we need to renovate it and get it operable. But again, if we're not using it that often, really, is it worth the funds? And wait until our downtown possibly is much more active and lively, and then we address it then. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's the right answer. I just want you guys to be thinking about it, talking to people, getting people's thoughts.
Didn't we have some idea what it would cost to refurbish it or
We
to
did,
rehab it?
because I was going to bring that up. Aaron had checked into that and
It's a lot of
said
money.
that the whole roof needed to be replaced because there's issues with the whole roof. I mean, like taking it down to the rafters
Yeah.
kind of a deal, because there's issues with the rafters in it because of the types of vandalism that were done. And
Well,
then
the animals
fact
are
that
in it.
and the animals, and it sat for so long, so there's weathering that has gotten in there. So to make sure it was definitely safe.
We
His
met with
other
a
concern-
contractor way last spring.
Right,
We're still waiting on
Okay.
a estimate.
right,
And now I have somebody else
which,
pestering that person to
Right.
get us one.
You met with them last spring?
Yeah, last spring.
and that's where I was gonna go, even at that time, which is now, we're talking 5 years difference, and COVID has happened and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I would, he just thought we really seriously had to consider whether it was worth renovating or taking it down to zero and rebuilding
Yeah.
because of what it was gonna take to repair, because of the vandalism that had been done where the toilets were and how they had been shifted off of bases and all
I
those
think
kinds of things.
Based on the contractor who looked at it, he felt like the outside walls are good.
Okay,
The base of the building is still, you know, the 4 walls are good.
okay,
Roof, yep, needs to be redone. Soffits, yep, and then redoing the inside, you know.
the other
Needs some
thing is, our question was, were we gonna have somebody there to kind of oversee it when it was actually open for when we had a public event because of the vandalism?
Yeah, no.
But
And
I know
we
we have
also
never
talked
solved that.
last spring when we were there. Calvin was there and Pam was there, and you and I. I don't think. The other thing we talked about was that lobby that goes all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about closing that off so that there was only a small hallway to actually go into the restrooms. And behind that, where you could access from the north, would be more for storage, you know, temporary stop signs that could be pulled out if necessary. And we thought it might be functional that way. And also then it wouldn't give room for people to hang out or homeless to kind of make a place to hang out for hours at a time. So I think once we get the estimate, we can make a better decision. But also, I just want to talk about the other options and have you start thinking about it and getting some feedback from people in your wards and
I know
people that
that-
you know that might have businesses downtown.
We've had discussions about downtown revitalization. It would be nice to know like where a public restroom kind of fits into that vision, you know? Like, how beneficial would it be? I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know if there's any way to quantify it, but
I wonder if it came out in the downtown assessment. Yeah, I'm not
that
sure
would be
either.
don't think it did.
interesting to know. I envision too, like if we were to open it up again and we could have like flyers, things to do in Fairfield, kind of like a little mini like visitors area. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I know, I think CVV is talking about that. I think Terry Baker says she'd consider putting her office there. It'd be convenient for her right off Burlington, maybe convenient for people driving into town, because I think a lot of people drive into town on Burlington as opposed to where they're located now.
Right.
You think she is open to that?
Yeah, I think she said that, yeah. As a possibility, yeah.
I understood she's pretty happy where she's at, right?
Yeah, maybe she is, but I think she mentioned that at one point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, any more comments? Seeing none, guess we'll adjourn the meeting. So we got 10 minutes, or 12 minutes before the next one starts.
That
Okay.
just